Hey guys, it's Matt. It would be great if you could hold back your comment for the regularly scheduled topic for this video, which will be postponed because I took a look at the news. Typically, the first thing I discuss is what most of the comments reflect. It would be a shame if comments were wasted on what I'm about or what I need. You know what I need to talk about. Please hold them back because this is a look to your comments video about people that have seen what we see or done our investigations, but then tried to get back in the matrix. Do you know people like that? We're going to talk about a lot of different situations. But I took a look at the news, and apparently in Kansas City for the Super Bowl victory parade for the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday, according to CNN.com, 22 injured, 1 dead. Again, the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory parade during the afternoon of yesterday, some sort of mass shooting. Now, number one, for anybody that's been here a while, Matt, are you going to look at it? No, we don't do this anymore. We don't go backwards. If anybody's new, all I can say is many of these types of events, when I looked at them closely, you could say as maybe a little RV, Russian Vid's disciple. Not that I knew him. He was looking at certain events. I would look at the same events, make similar videos, whatever. 2008 through 2012, 13, 14, with the big event being right in the middle of many of these presentations, the 2012 December, Oh Captain, My Captain event. All I can say, if anybody's new, is most of the ones we looked at during that time period, I don't know what I can say, so I'll just say we had a few questions, but there are a few problems. We'll just put it like that. But a segment of our community digs in, and every single one of these events just has to be the same sort of cake in a lake presentation. Like it would be just impossible in a country with 400 million guns or whatever there is, that there'd be a few crazy people and there'd actually be copycat events. Don't you think by laying down the events between 2008 and 2012, they were looking to create the copycat events by putting the names of the assailants, the names that you know, like Dylan, Storm, Roof, and things like that, by putting the assailants into such limelight that they wanted to create a situation where the copycat events would come, meaning the copycat events would be real. Of course, that's what they were looking for. Yeah, and even recently, I think I think they expected more. I think they wanted more copycat events. But in terms of what this is, I don't care. I'm not looking at it. I hope real people were not harmed. But if you've been doing truth research with us for 5 or 10 years, and you want to go back and spend time on this, you're talk about part two, the work. You're not doing it. I mean, and there's a huge segment, of course, of our community that knows nothing of this channel, that knows nothing of trying to move on or advance, that just will go back and just try to break these events down. Well, it was a necessary road to truth for a lot of us, breaking these sort of events down, looking at them closely. But we did it in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. It's 10 years later. It seems like that was just right around the corner. It basically was. But it's 10 years later. It's a whole decade later. So I don't want to say I don't care. I don't want real people to be harmed, but I'm not going to spend a minute on it. And I really hope none of the comments per what I asked reflect anything about this event, because it's going to muddy what the more important part of this video is about. Okay, with that being said, the presentation of Cypher in the Matrix, the one crew member on the Nebuchadnezzar, Morpheus's ship, that wanted to get back in to the Matrix, that had the meeting with Agent Smith, is I want it back in, and I want to be rich, I want to be famous, but not too famous. The magenta, right in the corner again of my Mac, as the Mac reflects the outside world. Quite with the emerald green light that I'm staring into to try to record this. Quite distracting, but anyway, Matt, you seeing things. You losing it, maybe, but I don't think so. Um, how many people do you know? And again, we don't come across too many people that have ever even gotten to where we are in terms of the way we see the world or the things we can see. So maybe it's best, I'm in a situation where I've seen more people come and go, where I've seen people that were, very involved, let's just say, at this channel, and emailed me and participated. And it seemed to, I mean, I'm not sure in many of these cases, but it seemed that this is not the life they wanted to live. They wanted back in the Matrix, and some actually got back into the Matrix, maybe for the way they considered it before it's too late. So my question would be, for the comments, what percentage of people that say are on our lifeboat, completely off the ship of fools, at least for a short period of time, 6 months or more, they look back at the ship of fools, they look back at reality and say, okay, this is absolutely 180 degrees of what I thought when I was on the ship. Everything breaks down. Big segments of the world are false. It's just, your world gets kind of turns upside down for a few years when you start seeing through the trick. And then it just keeps coming. You see, as you look into everything breaks down as you look at it closely. Again, overall, if you're new here, I think this is great news, but that's not what this video is about. We'll talk about that some other time. But the question is, how many people go back in to the matrix? Now, I'm in a unique position where, again, I've been in the middle of a lot of people coming and going, a lot of emails per what I do with this channel. And to me, I would say it's about 10%, a little bit less, meaning you would expect more people to want to get back into the matrix. Maybe not 100% back in, but to basically stop doing the research that we're doing, stop thinking the way we think about the world, and try to, like, almost from a frequency perspective, a resonance, align themselves back with what the matrix wants out of human being, 666.0, or whatever the iteration of the human being is that the matrix wants to deal with or be involved with, to make sure they keep their corporate job or to get back into corporate life. I've seen a few people I know completely go back in, and other things happen where in other words, if somebody's saying, Matt, everybody that turns your channel off or similar channels off isn't jumping in back into the matrix. I agree. Many are. It's not right to use the word graduate, but it's kind of appropriate. I don't know how to talk about it exactly besides saying the word graduate. They see what we see, they believe what we believe, but they're done with any sort of research. They're done with investigating the next, rabbit hole or stinky breadcrumb or whatever Tartaria might be or whatever even I talk about, even though I'm trying to, advance us past those stinky breadcrumb type distractions that are obviously put in front of us, in front of people that see the world a little bit differently by the Matrix. I think I've said many times, I think mud flood, Tartari, and all that are not milk dark reality distractions, no matter what truth is associated with it or not. See, no matter what truth is associated with it or not, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The entire reality is false. It doesn't matter if it's heavy and you can drop it on your foot. That's what many truth researchers don't seem to understand yet. It's all part of the distraction. So many people Matt, if somebody goes away, somebody may be wanting to tell me that they're not just going back into the matrix, they leave your channel or whatever, and it's true, they just check out. They just go, I'm not watching Matt, I'm not watching anything, I'm not interested in conspiracy, I see the world. They're not abandoning their beliefs at all. But they're not dwelling on it either. They're not, I mean, it is, if I didn't have this channel, I assure you, it would just still be the way the world works is fascinating to me. And I don't want to make it seem like those people that leave everything behind they're all altruistic and we need to get there. And I'm not just saying that because everybody would leave me with just talking to three people. Hi, three people. Bill, Ted, and Susan. How you be back again? I don't want you to leave me. See, I'm not saying if they check out, they're not more altruistic or more advanced than somebody that's still interested, because I'm fascinated by it. What I was going to say is, even if I didn't have this channel, I would still ponder and do a little research, and just it's fascinating to me how this world works. And when it becomes the moment it became fascination, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, or 8 years ago, and then it gets less dark. It's more fascinating and less dark, less grim. Things are much brighter, even though I've told people, no, I'm sorry, I can't, you just asked me a bunch of questions in that email. I can't reply. And, I can't look at dark realities. I've said many times on emails, I can't look at dark reality 7 days a week anymore. That's one of the things I like about this stove build or whatever. Go back, I just 3.5 hours, 4 hours sometimes a day, and I go slowly. It takes me an hour and a half sometimes to clean up, and it's just complete mindless or a different type of mind work, and it is a real it's like taking a nap for me. It's a real stress release in terms of looking at the asshole dark, 7 days a week, which I can't do anymore. I need mentally. I've been looking at dark reality 7 days a week. And when I say that, it doesn't mean I made a video every day. It means the emails will come in. I don't know, I'm trying, let's say on a Monday, I don't typically make videos. I started putting stove videos out 4 or 5 weeks ago, but I haven't typically made a video more than one or two on a Monday for the past 5 years. Well, still, people email me, Matt, look at this clip. What do you think about this? I mean, 100 things. Or check this out. Check. Here's the timestamp of this video you need to watch. So it's still like analyzing dark reality 7 days a week. So we all need our breaks and ways to, want to get away. Like to me, it's the stove build right now. But I was just going to say that it's not that the people that completely check out, they're like what Thoreau. I went off to the woods to live deliberately and to get away from conspiracy research. They're not. I don't think they're not more advanced. It's just a different way of going about it. I think you can not be interested in breaking. Oh, let's break down what happened at the Kansas City Chiefs, victory parade, and you can still see that you can still advance and see that the not milk is throwing more yellow stinky breadcrumbs at our direction, at those that see what we see. It's throwing more breadcrumbs at us than at any other group. It's just a different type of breadcrumb. It's not social media or Ryan Seacrest's red carpet, but it's still, I think I'm saying it's okay to still have the interest and the fascination, because I assure you, if I didn't have this channel, I still would be just as fascinated, and I'd still would watch some videos and things like that. But the reason we started talking about this is when people completely check out, and I've seen people that were very participated, say heavily here at this channel or maybe at other channels, mostly via emailing me and things like that, and then they just go away. And most, I would say, of the group that goes away, 90%, it's not they're abandoning their beliefs. They still see what we see. They still see the world the way we would see it on the lifeboat rowing away from the ship of fools. They're just, I don't know, they're not going to look at it anymore. It's not that they're afraid to give the not milk energy and attention, which somehow it draws power from. We have to be careful in doing that. We've talked about how the truth community, more than any other community, is sucked in constantly by the not milk to have our group focus on certain things. That's why it makes mistakes on purpose. I mean, most of the mistakes that we thought we caught, the big ones over the years, it is actually put out intentionally so we latch onto it and catch it, whether it be an inflated tire at the bottom of a building to a Robbie moment. It's a mistake on purpose. To a guy on a wire up on the International Space Station. We didn't catch him in anything. They're actually making mistakes on purpose to draw in our community for a variety of different reasons. Um, it gains, if you go about truth research in the wrong way, it does extract a form of loosh or energy, attention, things like that. It's also to isolate us, to get us seen as crazy or a little nuts by the normal people around us because of our viewpoints and what we see. It knows that this regular group of people will not see the things we see, even though there's a guy on a wire. I mean, even though, again, that to me is nobody caught anybody on a wire. It was all it could be somebody really on a wire. I don't really believe in most not milk presentations, but in this case, you know what I'm saying. I'm not sure how clearly this is coming out, so I'll say it one more time. Nobody analyzing truth caught the not milk making a mistake. They believe they caught them, and that's exactly what the not elk wanted. Okay, I guess that's pretty clear. So a lot of 9 out of 10 just they just go check out, and they're not going to watch Matt, or not going to watch, not going to they're not going to research anything. They hear the news about what happened in Kansas City, and I guess for a second it goes through their mind that, yeah, it could be another one of these types of presentations, but they're not going to look at it, and they don't care, and they're going to just walk their dog and enjoy nature and go off like Henry David Henry David the Thoreau, and live deliberately. Maybe not in the woods, maybe in a condominium in Toronto, but they're just done with it. 1 out of 10 though, and a lot of people come and go from here. 1 out of 10 went back in the matrix. Okay, I've seen it, and where I haven't seen it, I've sensed it. They're just, who knows why? They're just, well, there's a lot of possibilities, a lot of reasons, but they see for just a short period of time, maybe for a year or two, they see what we see. But they're, unlike you and I, that's fascinated by it, and it's not, none of this ever stressed me out, or when I became very Mandela affected. It bothers certain people. To me, it was the most fascinating thing of all time. I couldn't wait for the next Mandela effect, for the next I don't need a, by the way, I don't need a comment informing me that it's a psyop, and it's the one psyop that I'm falling for. I'm well aware. Not everybody sees reality shift in front of their eyes. If you want to think I'm crazy, think I'm crazy. But I couldn't wait for the next Mandela effect. Couldn't wait. Loved it. It bothers a lot of people. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen, because I sensed the adage, or one of the mantras of this channel now: as the world becomes more fake, you become more real. I sensed that was true. Not that the world being fake makes us real, and we need it, like I've said before. It's just a realization that as this world breaks down as fake, then the model of the universe that says we came from a big bang, and the aspect, the argument of atheism has merit. If we came from the Big Bang, as all that breaks down, and you see this is a false reality, nothing holds water when you look at it closely, then you say, okay, it's like Wayne's diagram, all of this for us. And you become more real. Not that that makes you more real, the realization that we have in understanding ourselves. So as the dark reality actually presented itself more strongly, Mandela effects, reality breaking down. To me, it was very rarely disturbing. It was usually, like, as I say, the greatest news of all time, because it adds up to a world that couldn't possibly be real. As the world becomes less real, you become, or my thoughts initially were, I become more real, or understanding myself. So there's almost nothing that could happen that's going to completely um, depress me or freak me out. Now, if something happens to, the supercomputer just can't hold the economy together, and the new system is not quite ready. The new system is ready, I'm sure. They have everything all ready to go. But if for 6 months to a year, if scenes from the movie The Road play out, that doesn't exactly excite me. The movie The Road is about as dark and depressing as any movie ever presented. That's not just mess, death in a movie, bot in a movie. It's a complete breakdown of society and culture. Just even finding running water is difficult. They hit the road, and it's just in a way, Mad Max: The Road Warrior is darker, but much of it's presented like a cartoon. It's larger than life, so you don't really put yourself in that situation. Where in The Road, you kind of picture what it would be like if the supercomputer stopped managing the economy properly, and every just-in-time system failed within 5 hours, and all of a sudden there are no canned goods delivered around the world. All that, and how fragile this system is. The Road. I don't know. Probably not even good for real people to focus on a movie like The Road. But you see, Mad Max: The Road Warrior. I'm not going to do the humongous. I'm not this. I'm not in the greatest. Thank goodness the Kurt video was yesterday. I'm certainly not in the mood to do that today. I look at the CNN.com and, oh, come on, to talk about this, the opening of this video. So, but they're cartoon characters, even though the wasteland of Road Warrior Mad Max is worse. So that's the only thing that again is ever stressed me out to a degree. For many years, I was watching all the economic collapse videos, which was at the time dominated by the SGT report and the X22 report. And this was for me, oh boy, it was 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. I don't know. Maybe for 2 or 3 years, probably a little later than the Captain O'Captain events. Probably 2013, 14, maybe even 15. Something like in that 3 year period. I watched, I don't know, 1,000 economic collapse. And that is the only thing that did disturb me, bother me. Because then you go watch a movie like The Road, you know how fragile the system is. You don't realize that they have these weird means at their disposal, like reality buttons and levers or spells or supernatural means at their disposal. So if reality just exists inside your bookends of your known knowledge, then you look at the economy and you say this just can't keep they can't keep this going because all you understand in terms of the means or mechanisms they have at their disposal to keep it going is what you know. There's this whole other toy box over here of things you don't know. I will never know, you will never know as to how they keep it going. Who knows what's in here? A supercomputer that we can't fathom, a quantum computer. No, until somebody shows me a quantum computer does something, I'm not really going to believe in it until it shows me how it changes. I was going to say change the world. Yeah, Matt is changing the world. It's overwriting reality. You're stepping into a new magenta reality. Yeah, it could be related to that. But until it does something tangible that changes my life for the better or changes society and culture, I'm not going to put much stock into the quantum computer. But they have dark magic, spells, whatever you want to call it. They have things at their disposal over here. So, in terms of, I mean, the minion and creeps you see on television, are not high level, but they, they're not low level either. They don't want to live in a world where it's the road, and people, oh, Matt, they have their underground bunkers. Oh, yeah, I forgot about the Denver airport. I used to do all that conspiracy bullshit. I'm an expert at every bit of the old conspiracy. If anybody, I was gonna say if anybody's interested, I should do one a week. But if we could make it fun, I might do it. Like I could talk about the Denver airport for 2 hours, Blucifer, the damn horse out front, and the underground tunnels, and the paintings, and I've done all of it, all of it. That's that, but that's fine. Whatever path of truth that you come from, whatever road in you took, as long as you leave it behind and understand that that was the not milk trying to suck you in there forever. As long as you move on, part two, the work, the worry about yourself activities. So that my path to truth was you know, the mall events and the school events and like potentially what happened yesterday, and also and the major conspiracies, the Denver airport and all the stuff like that. I was involved in making videos and researching all of them, and it was a little dark, but it was just fascinating to me. And at some point, if you do it long enough, one of the main uh, I'll just say breakthroughs I had for myself. You do this long enough, and you look at so many thousands of things at the center of what everybody's sending you. And this is even when I had the insurance agency trying to provide insurance products for people that live overseas. I was still 3 or 4 hours a day doing this. I was still making videos, of course. I wonder what those people, the expatriate families, would have thought. I've been out of it for years, guys. Oh, and it looks like the big insurance company is going to drop finally found somebody after dealing with, this would be what, 6 people? I finally found somebody with a degree of common sense and a degree of clout. So it's like, so this guy's been out of the insurance industry for years. We haven't invoiced him in 7 years, and we're going to go after, just under $3,000. Like, what are the person's like, what are we doing here? Just write it off, and they're gonna write it off. Finally found somebody that just didn't operate completely inside the matrix box. So that's gonna. I knew eventually it would go away, and I was never gonna pay it anyway. But what are they gonna do anyway? But oh gosh, I hit that point where I forgot what I was gonna talk about. Oh, I know what it was. I investigated all the old conspiracies, and I got to the point when you do it for so long and see so many different things and have people show you so many different things, you get to the point, and this is one of the greatest revelations of all time of my life. Things could never be bad after this. And I don't know the date or time where I said, wait a second, there's too much going on here. Too many conspiracies, too many synchronicities, too much gematria, too many things to look at, too many questionable news events that don't add up, too many catastrophe thespians that don't seem real. No real world could do this. This is a joke. And then it was like, okay, after that, then you see the world in a whole new light, a whole new setting. No real world could do this. It's hard for a lot of people to wrap their head around that if they like haven't been in the middle of it like I have for so long. I haven't seen every. I mean, imagine just per day what people. Matt, check this out. Check this link out. Time stamped it for you, Matt. Watch between 15 minutes and 20 of this video. I mean, it's not ridiculous amount of stuff, but it's consistently things sent to me every day for 10 years. I've been doing this almost 15 in terms of the old Texas Shrugged channel. But imagine, so you get to the point, and Matt, what would be the day where you, oh boy, it was definitely before See the V. It was probably around 2018 or so where I started to sense that, wait a second, this is no real world could do this. It's too much conspiracy. And we start looking at the conspiracy maps and all this. So it's not a real world. It's just I don't know how to describe it beyond that. That's what else why do you have to describe it beyond that? It's not a real world. But we should get back and do the rings, the concentric rings. It is relatively real here. Remember that I haven't shown you. We need to do a concentric rings. Bring back the old diagrams. Your heart-centered reality bubble, for the most part, is real, even though it's technically to me not real either. But it's the most real. Your immediate vicinity, the loved ones and animals and pets that come into your vicinity. As you go outward towards the screen, towards the not milk, that's where everything starts to break down, where the images get blurry, and it needs real people to solidify or act as the emulsifier on those images. And when we looked at, or I drew it up really haphazardly, and a few people made it real nice diagrams of the concentric rings. Um, it was exactly right. It was, if there's one thing that I just hit the nail in my, well, it's still, how could I prove it's right even today? But every, when I put it out there, I put it out there like, hey, this is a notion of mine. Is this how reality works? See, as you move outward towards the dark, towards the screen, towards the presentations, things break down and become corrupted, fake. It becomes more fluid. Mandela effects, lies, deceit. We're right around your immediate vicinity. I bet that same, you know, maple tree is right outside your window. It's still there, right? It hasn't morphed into some big old spider or something. It's still your immediate vicinity is still really real. And it always is. It tries to constantly invade and reach into your immediate vicinity. And most people accept it in. It needs to be accepted in. Needs to be invited in. The same old, themes from fables and storybooks and nursery rhymes. The wolf dressed as Red Riding Hood. Well, I guess he broke his ass in and pretended he was Granny. So that's not the greatest example. For the most part, it needs to be invited in. That's how this reality works. Right back to the movie I saw the other day, where the person's on death row, and he says to the attorney that's trying to determine if he's mentally competent to be put to death via the capital punishment in the state of whatever it was, Ohio or wherever, he says right off to the attorney, "I'm a demon." And the movie's called, oh gosh, Nefarious. The movie's called Nefarious. I thought the first 45 minutes was very interesting, then it got a little tedious and I turned it off. The person that plays the person on death row who has an altered personality, the personality that's dominant is a demon, plays it well as he can. Absolutely, he does a great job, considering he doesn't have a whole lot to work with. Very, very strong acting performance. Don't recommend the movie unless you can see it for free. I think it is on Prime. Watched 40 minutes of it, and then I turned it off. But the point is, what I was going to say was, it's that same theme over and over again. He says he's convincing the attorney who's trying to determine if he's mentally capable that he's a real demon and he wants to be put to death. He wants to. It's not like he's like, I'm not trying to fake that I'm a demon. I want you to say I'm mentally competent. If you're convinced I'm a demon, then I am mentally competent, and if I'm not just saying this. So at one point, um, does he say invite me in or something like that? Something happens where he says you have to invite me in. I know it's strange because then later the attorney actually invites him in and he doesn't go. So, but it's just the same theme that we've been talking about that in the movies. Like you have to invite me um, in some way. I'm no expert on demonic possession, but in some way, the person doesn't have to say, "Hey, come on in," but in some way they're invited in by their activities or their actions or their perversions or what they're involved in or what crimes they've committed. They're people that believe in demonic possession, at least like the biblical version of a demon, they still have to be invited in, if not directly by saying come in, they have to be invited in through their actions or playing with a Ouija board or whatever. So obviously, whether how much of that you believe is complete literal truth, it is to a degree a Humpty. Whether if it's not literally true, it's a stuffed Lenin or a Humpty Dumpty. It is true because that theme has been carried through time so many centuries. So therefore, we learn all Humpty Dumptys and stuffed Lenins we learn from. Therefore, you don't invite it in. You say you're not. Nothing is allowed in. Nothing is allowed to touch my energy besides me. No, nothing can take my energy but me. I might put my attention on something, even a Rolling Stones concert, but it can't take any whatever egregore exists behind Mick Jagger holding the strings or something. It can't take my energy. Why? Because I said so. These affirmations are real and powerful and legitimate. Why? Because it's constantly working to get you to believe you have no power and these affirmations are pointless. Even if my friend or family saw this video saying, "Oh, Matt thinks he can ward off evil and ward off certain things by just declaring it," he's more delusional than we thought at the family picnic. No, yeah, they would think you're crazy, but that's fine. They already think we're crazy. It's true because you see the way it operates and what it wants from you and how it has to do business behind the trick. So then you know exactly that you hold all the cards. You know that you hold all the power. And nefarious, the demon's like, invite me in. Well, no. And not only am I not inviting anything in, my energy is my own. And do these sorts of affirmations. I don't think you have to do them out loud. I sometimes do them out loud for I don't think I have to. And I do the same affirmation over and over again like a dummy. Like there'll be like the old affirmation I've told you guys about many times. I'll watch I don't know, let's just the Harry Potter movie Parcel Tongue comes to mind where he can speak as snakes and I just he goes like it sounds creepy and I've said it 100 times but I say that doesn't work on me. And I keep saying, Matt, why do you keep saying that? Once you do one affirmation, it's enough. Then that stuff doesn't work on me. It was in Ready Player One where one of the real creepy characters casts a spell of some kind, but it's a spell in the video game, but it's always in Latin. You know, Dote te varias. I mean, it bothers me. And I said years ago, I said this is potentially meant to influence the people watching these spells put out in Latin in these weird dark movies. So years ago, I said that doesn't work on me. Put up a layer of armor or defense, which I don't even think we even need to do. We already have the armor. I'm just being, why not be extremely careful or just err on the side of being too careful? But then I keep doing the same affirmation. Like, Matt, why do you keep, once you do it, it's good. Okay, it's good. I don't, and I get on myself for doing it over and over again. So, guys, originally we were talking about people that want to go back into the matrix. And one of the reasons, excuse me, what's that itch? Horrible. One of the reasons is their family situation. That they have a spouse who is smack right in the middle of a matrix job, and they have one, two, three, or four kids, and they almost come to the conclusion. Many, by the way, I'm sorry to go on a tangent here, but many people do manage it. Many people manage it. They have the family, and they try to talk to the spouse a little bit, but then they realize that this person's never going to see what I see, and they still have the family life, and they do it on their own time, and they manage it. But in terms of the example I was talking about, these people go, I cannot pursue this truth and also live this work life or this family life. And they just walk away from it. And when they do, I guess one of the interesting things that I definitely wanted to talk about was they don't, the people that completely walk away from it or went back in the matrix or need to be of a certain frequency to interact with their spouse, their family, or to get that job promotion, those people are not carrying the knowledge that they blend, literally like blend back into the matrix. Now, I don't have a huge sample size on this. And of course, they're never going to forget everything they learned. If they see a certain presentation or somebody lands on Mars, they might go, but their frequency, they see the most important point is their everything is here, like what Tesla said. That's a stuffed, Tesla himself could be a stuffed Lenin. Who knows how legitimate any of that is, but it is a stuffed Lenin, excuse me, and a Humpty Dumpty. If Tesla says everything here is frequency, harmonics, vibration, resonance, or however that famous saying goes, is it that Tesla quoted it and we were lucky enough to get that quote? No, it's a stuffed Lenin that's carried through time artificially because the not milk, maybe even contractually, has to do things like that. So everything is, but that's right. Everything is frequency, harmony, resonance, etc. Radio station, download, it's all related, no matter what the different topics we've talked about. And these people then they blend back into the matrix. So the matrix sees it's not like something that needs to be dispelled from its pod, like Neo. Like Neo popped out of this pod, a tube came out. That damn thing was on him right away. Oh, one broke free. Flushed. He got flushed. If you, I believe, it's hard for me to believe that anybody that sees what we see and continues to research and ponder the things that we do and break down reality and see through everything and see the trick, it's hard for me to believe that anybody could, I guess, survive very long in a corporate setting, for example, or a government setting. Maybe if it's a low-level job and they just, tech IT and they set up new laptops for people or something and they just keep to themselves. But in terms of if they're in a corporate world and they see what we see, they're never going to be promoted. They're obviously the matrix, in my case, I believe the matrix, I mean, I popped out of the water with a YouTube channel and I said to the matrix, over here, for years doing this sort of video. When I started, I don't know when the Texas Shrug channel started, 2000 and, I don't know, was it 2009 or I don't know. I don't know. I say I've been doing this in about 15 years, so we can just count back 2008, 9, something like that. And um, for many years during that, when the brokerage business started to go bad, I told you this story many times. I went and tried to do interviews in corporations. Well, how am I gonna? I gotta eat, right? I did 10 years of YouTube. I never ran one ad. I never made one penny. Didn't even think to ask anybody to support or whatever. Um, so well, I gotta eat. I lived for years off my 401k from the old insurance job. That makes a lot of sense. So when you need the money the most and you can't pay your bills, the government then taxes you a 10% penalty. When you need the money the most, it hits you with an extra 10% penalty. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Anyway, Matt, it's a retirement vehicle. Yeah, I didn't know that. So that I was trying to find a corporate job because that was my background. I needed to eat. I needed to pay bills. Didn't want to be homeless. Wanted to stay in the house. So, but the Matrix had identified me per the Texas Shrug YouTube channel. I said, "Huh, Matrix, look at me," because I was making videos. It knew, and it was weird. Like the people I interact. First of all, I almost got. I don't want to do this big interview thing and how horrible that experience was for me. I've talked about it many times. I'll be 30 seconds or less. Whenever I could get an interview, and I couldn't because they'd run my name through a background check, the social score, whatever would come back, would be like I've said this before, on the same level as somebody that just came out of Graterford. My social score was an F, and my resume then never made it on for evaluation. I was eliminated immediately per the social credit score. That whatever they talk about the Chinese system, it was adopted in the U.S. at the same time. It's just that they talked about the Chinese system and they didn't talk about this system. Well, HR systems and corporate systems, human resources run your resumes through databases. It's no different than the Chinese system. Whenever I did get an interview, and it was like a weird frequency, but the few where it went well, then I've told you this, that immediately, like everything would change. They wouldn't return my call or immediately get a rejection. Like, well, that was, I can kind of sense if you have a rapport with someone. Yeah, who knows what happened? But basically, yeah, Matt, once you put yourself in front of the matrix, then you wanted. I made the mistake. I didn't know. I made the mistake of thinking there was a chance to just to go back in and lay low, just to get a lower job, just so I could pay bills and survive. I didn't realize that this pursuit of truth is. I didn't realize how important the metaphysical here is, the frequency, the vibration somebody puts off. It's all. There's so much outside of our perception that's just even more important than what we can see or what the senses take in. I didn't realize this. Figured, well, I have a good resume. I could just go back and get some lowly cube job and get health care and pay bills. And I didn't. I had no idea that the metaphysical side over here wouldn't allow that. So people go back in, they sense it too. They sense it, even if they're not aware of it. Okay, I want this promotion because I have three kids at home and I have the wife, and they don't see any truth. They don't. My spouse says, if you talk about that conspiracy stuff one more time, I'm going to leave you, whatever. So they sense it. I can't talk about it at home. They just sense that they have to abandon it, and they have to like merge back in to the matrix to continue their life, their corporate life, or their life as a college professor or whatever. So what I'm saying is, what we used to say, what Gus is saying is, what is presented in the matrix via cipher is basically real. Now, nobody, that sees what we see for years and wants to merge back in and get closer to the matrix because it's dark what we look at, and some people can't handle it. And they're tired of their their cousins that they told all their cousins about. Don't you see what happened on the big day in 2001, the 7/11 job health, and they got mocked for that because of course we all realize on our own that nobody can see it. Then the frequency they merge back in, so it's a frequency merger back in. It's not, but what's represent, they can't show that in the Matrix movie. That doesn't make sense for a motion picture. So the way they presented it was cipher, where he goes and has a meeting with an agent of the Matrix, and he says, he's announcing to the Matrix through to his in his conversation with Agent Smith that I want back in. Of course, then he says, I want he knows it's all a simulation. I want to be rich and I want this and that. Well, who knows if the not milk in a way has tempted people to get back into the Matrix. Not that they would get a text message like Neo in the beginning of the Matrix. Do you want to know what maybe they just get a feeling or a sense because they're realigning with the frequency or resonance of the Matrix. They get a feeling that, you know, if I really buckle down at my job here, working for Exxon Mobil or Monsanto or whatever, and if I really apply myself, I can get that regional job, and we can finally move out of Columbus, Ohio, and we can relocate wherever to Atlanta, whatever it may be. They get a notion, they commit themselves back to the Matrix. What I'm saying is, again, this is just one other area where the Matrix movie is not just some thing made up by the Wachowski brothers and sisters. It's not. It's no. It's so far beyond the Wachowski, whatever they are. I mean, the Wachowskis maybe made it happen, but it is of the not milk. It is much. It's coming from darker regions of the back room than with Wachowskis. Maybe they were out there doing the filming and the directing, but just to say they created it, and there's too much truth that's still coming out of it over 20 years later. And no, I don't buy for 1 second the people that run around the internet and said, I was the one that really wrote it. There's several people. I mean, ridiculous. Ridiculous. The Matrix is too important to, the Matrix movie is too important to what we call not milk. And the Wachowskis get almost 100% of the credit, and they, in my opinion, knowing nothing, they deserve 20% of the credit. Because the not milk, or Maybe they were so maybe they were so influenced, like downloaded by the not milk, it was all them. But they think it was all them, but it wasn't all them. Either way, then it wasn't all them. If they're on the dark frequency and downloaded, and Lana or whatever her name got this idea that we're gonna have this character Cipher that wants to get back. She thinks or he thinks it's her. Which one is it? They them what? She thinks it's her idea to present this scene with Cipher, where she's just getting a dark download. We've talked about very few that present themselves, the names we know, are consciously in on anything. I think they understand their little bucket. You know, Melvin P. of the Melvin P. and Belinda Gates Foundation understands that he's really not helping Africa. He has an understanding that all we're doing here at the Melvin P. and Belinda Gates Foundation, we're not really helping Africa. And some of it could be a little dark. He knows that, but in terms of how, that's just one little aspect of how reality works. In terms of everything else, the stuff that we ponder, he doesn't have a clue. We've given these minions too much credit. It happens. The reality goes on, and it's dark progress in a way that the minions have very little understanding other than their own direct bucket. I've used the example over and over again, but the best example, the way to understand it is when he was alive, Rush Limbaugh. Um, Rush Limbaugh knew that, I don't think he knew exact mechanism behind it, but basically knew that the presidential election, somebody had kind of already seen to it. I put it that way. He knows. But okay, he knows national politics are there's a let's just say a hidden hand guiding certain outcomes. I mean, he knew that. But do I know for sure? No, but okay. But did he know anything else about all the other things that we ponder about reality? When he went home and watched the news, and there was a mall event or a school event, one that was really ridiculous. We looked at in 2010, 11, 12, 13. One that was just completely ridiculous. What was the most ridiculous one? Well, they were all ridiculous in their own way. Rush Limbaugh, in my opinion, would probably believe that news story. That's what I'm saying. By understanding your bucket but nothing else, I don't think he had an understanding of different aspects outside of and I think of aspects outside of his own little bucket. I think that's the truth with all the minions that we know that appear on TV. George Soros, Melvin P. You know, does George Soros knows that he knows that he's not really collapsing currencies on his own? I mean, does he think just by his own trading acumen he can bring the pound down 25 years ago 25% or whatever he did? He has that reputation for collapsing economies and currencies. Do you think he's doing it just by making moves and creating alliances? No, he understands his bucket. He's an agent for Not Milk. He knows who to interact with at the Fed to facilitate these sorts of things. It's all managed and created on a Fed script. But the Not Milk steps of the org chart, he's not, in my opinion, not aware of. And then if anybody's saying, well, what is that back room? That's the thing. There is no back room. That's my complete understanding of it. Well, do I know? No, but I'm for myself. I'm not. I don't think I'm going to be. I'm not going to try to convince anybody of this. For myself, there is no back room with one person that controls everything. It's just layered with no end, in my opinion. That's just the way it works. And it's Matt, you or anybody can't wrap their head around that. I know I'm not trying to wrap my head around it. That's just the way I think it works. So George Soros, he's playing this role to collapse currencies or to upset economies or facilitate things like what happened in Venezuela. And he has contacts at what you would call the Federal Reserve that, let's just say, assist him in this. Again, to think he's doing it on his own and with his own little funds, it's ridiculous. There's so many ridiculous things that we get frustrated our friends and family can't see through. So he knows who to talk to here. Then those people, okay, there's real people, or well, who knows what type of entity they are, but let's just say they walk around in a body. They're in the Fed. They know, oh, this over here, this layer, this dark area, facilitates. We need to get permission before we collapse the currencies. But I don't think there you can. If you, it's like here, it's a rainbow, is what it is. It's a dark gray, black, and it's a dark rainbow. If you keep following it, there's no end to it. There is no final demonic thing sitting in a chair somewhere like the Iron Throne, saying, "Who are we seeing next? Bring him in." There is no final bad guy. That is, it's impossible to wrap your head around that, and we can't comprehend it in the consciousness that we have that's been governed down in this reality. But I'm pretty sure. It just, but the nut, what the hell? The not milk is completely satisfied with the first grade truther, always wanting to try to find the bad guy, trying to point at bad guys. It's the secret societies and Freemasons, and I'm so tired of that nonsense. Hearing that all the time. I've eliminated. You know how many people I've eliminated? Well, not that many, but I've eliminated people from the channel by they put stove on the stove videos. Oh, now we know he's a Mason. Come on, because I want to build a stove with bricks. I mean, what? This is, oh God. I think maybe it's just done, Matt. It's just done to get under your skin. Um, in fact, anybody that I'm very quick to eliminate anybody from the channel that isn't trying to help or give me constructive criticism. I'm great. It says, Matt, you know, hear me out. You're going wrong in this area. Let me try to help here. You think I would delete that or delete that person from the channel? They get nasty, or they're just some stupid ass comment that doesn't help anybody. I have no tolerance for it. Why would I care? I want the number of subscribers to go down. It's a small group that supports with whatever, $3 a month. Why would I care about subscriber numbers or anything like that? I'm trying to make it go down. I don't want it to reach 100,000. So again, let me have it. If you think I'm wrong, I'm not going to delete the comment or delete you from the channel. But just there's so many people that over the years just have nothing but negativity and nothing to offer, and can be nasty, and the vitriol and the and I'm even turning the dial up even more. If and the comment should either tell me where I'm going, it should try to help us out in some way. And if I'm going wrong, that generally is along the theme of helping us out. Because in this area, Matt's wrong and he needs help. And let's help him out. He's wrong in this area. Great. Let those comments come. But somebody commented, I guess a few videos back for the chapter, so chapter 44, it said, Matt, you've done a good job with this group, creating a group of people that still remain here that are very smart, that help contribute to the conversation. It's good to go through the comments and interact with other smart people. Well, I've worked hard at that. I have. And it's to a lot of people on YouTube, oh, it's just sacrilegious. You can't delete somebody from the channel unless they say F you and all this stuff. Why? If it's somebody that's just not in any way interested in helping us out, if they're interested in helping us out, and even if I think it's completely wrong, of course I'm not going to delete them. But I have, and I will continue to do that to keep, for those that appreciate interacting with smart people in the comment section, to keep the comment section as clean as possible. Anyway, guys, that's been a while. I guess it's 48 minutes. Boy, this magenta. The reflection off the side of Matt, you crazy. There's nothing there. The reflection off the side of the computer, the Mac, flat screen iMac, to the outside window. The outside window, the light is not a little magenta, not you could say interpreted, 100% magenta. Now, we need to talk about that because that is not being generated by the Mac, as far as I know. Anyway, guys, thanks. I will, this whole Kansas City Chiefs, got me off to a strange start, and never quite recovered. But I'll see you guys very soon.